Alrighty, so welcome to episode 3 of Chimaera Conversations. It's a Star Wars podcast where I talk about my Star Wars opinions. Um, it is filmed live every Wednesday in the Chewy Meme Town Discord server. If you'd like to join and be a part of the live chat, the link to it will be in the description. So, as always, the first thing to talk about is the Book of Boba Fett episode, Chapter 3. Um, what can I say about it? I personally was not the biggest fan of it. Um, I thought it just wasn't great. My main problem with it was the biker gang, uh, the little neon colored bicycles with millennials. Uh, yeah, Power Rangers on bicycles essentially. Little spy kids because it's Robert Rodriguez. Gave me that vibe. Um, I think this was, without a doubt, probably the weakest episode we've gotten so far. Um, but my hopes are still high for the show. Uh, one episode that will not drag down the entire show. So keeping positive, and I look forward to next week's episode. Another thing that was kind of disappointing was the fight between Boba and Black Chrysanthemum. Now, I'm going to be honest, Boba Fett probably should have died about 3 times during that fight. Um, if Black Chrysanthemum really wanted to kill Boba, there were a couple ways he could have gone about doing it a little bit better. So he's not really good. Uh, not really good at assassinating people, I guess. And the comics, he had a rough time trying to kill Uncle Owen and Obi-Wan Kenobi too. So, uh, then of course the biker gang runs in to save the day, which seems to be a recurring theme of this episode is the bikers saving the day, which I guess it's establishing them for the coming episodes. I don't know. Hopefully they improve. Maybe it was just this. Maybe it's just this episode. Maybe the bikers will be improved upon. We'll know more about them here in the next coming episodes. Um, the Tusken Raider tribe that adopted Boba quite abruptly met its end. The soundtrack of this episode was phenomenal. I can't wait for it to be officially released by Disney. I think they're doing what they did with Mando Season 2. And with Mando Season 2, they released the album after the show. So I guess that's what they're going to do for this one. In Mando Season 1, they released the episode soundtrack with the episode. So when the episode came out, so did the soundtrack. That was my favorite because every week I could listen to a new Mandalorian soundtrack. But they did not do that. But yeah, great soundtrack. Just all around great scene. The Tuskens did not stand a chance. As far as we know, the chieftain is dead. The little boy Tusken is dead because Boba had his little stick that he played with his dog with. However, we did not see anything about the female Tusken warrior. So that's up in the air. Is she still alive? It's possible. The uh, the biker gang might have taken her hostage. And maybe this will also give us a chance to maybe see what Tusken Raiders look like behind the garb. But that's not really something that, it hasn't happened before. We've never really gotten to see what they looked like under the wraps before, but maybe eventually we'll see it. Let's see. So I read an article earlier that the Book of Boba Fett viewership has already dropped below The Mandalorian. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing because The Mandalorian was insanely hyped up. I mean, everybody was talking about it. Everyone wanted to see Baby Yoda. That's what a lot of viewers were watching for. Let's be honest. There were a lot of non-Star Wars people watching it to see Baby Yoda, which that's fine. Like I'm glad, getting Star Wars out there to more people. That's that's perfectly good. But that's why the viewership was higher. Just being completely truthful about the whole situation. Um, let's see. So let's talk about Beta Fett. Now, Beta Fett is a nickname that's going around for Boba Fett in this series because almost every single conflict you see him in, he gets his butt kicked. He got his butt kicked by the hooded assassins. He got his butt kicked by Black Chrysanthemum. He got his butt kicked by the Tuskens. However, that's a little more understandable given the fact that he, just got out of the Sarlacc pit. Um, however, he did kick those bikers' butts. So the Beta Fett claim is not completely supported. But I do see what people are saying. Boba Fett shouldn't have to be rescued in every fight that he's in. He is probably, well, in Legends, he was one of the most formidable warriors to walk the galaxy. And even Han Solo went to him to train his daughter to fight Jason when he fell to the dark side. And, well, of course, Boba also became Mandalore, so that's another out there thing that's probably not going to happen. Um, Speaking of Mandalorian, uh, apparently season 3 of The Mandalorian, which is, of course, filming in California, has been put on hold due to the Omicron COVID virus. So, don't know how accurate that report is, but I could see that happening. I would really like it to not be delayed because The Mandalorian is my favorite Star Wars content that has come out while I've been alive, essentially. So, I hold that show very near and dear to my heart, and I want to get the next season as soon as possible, which is still going to be a long time because it's still going to be at least another year. But I mean, this year is absolutely packed with Star Wars shows. So there will be plenty of things to talk about over the summer and into uh, 2023. Kenobi, Andor, Bad Batch season 2, which that amazes me that we're already getting a Bad Batch season 2 because we just got Bad Batch season 1 and it's like gonna be a year exactly and we're gonna get Bad Batch season 2, which that's impressive. Um, Also kind of makes me worried about the quality. Um, because if they only been working on, I mean, they've probably been working on it for a while, but the quality is a concern because Bad Batch was pretty divisive. Uh, there were a lot of episodes that were just, meh. They were okay. They weren't phenomenal, but they were good. Um, a lot of people use the word filler. There were a lot of filler episodes. Um, there might be a Book of Boba season 2. That's if it sets up a new season. I assume that Boba is probably going to be successful in his crime escapade by the end of this season. So I'm guessing he'd still be out there. And I feel like they would wrap up the story of Boba Fett. Just like how they're probably going to wrap up the story of uh, Din Djarin. They're going to wrap up the story of Bo-Katan. They're going to wrap up the story of probably Ahsoka. I mean, we're just being honest. We're probably going to see Ezra. We're probably going to see Thrawn. There's going to be a lot that comes from these live action Star Wars shows that are coming out. A lot of characters that have already been established in Star Wars that their story needs to be finished. Um, if they don't choose to do it all on TV, um, they could do books. I don't really see them going that route because the books don't make as much money as the TV shows do, or as the movies do. So if we're going to see that stuff, we're probably going to get it on screen somehow. Um, I would probably say my estimated timeline is that I think that we're probably going to get Kenobi in May. If not Kenobi, probably Andor. But I would like to think that they put Kenobi on the Star Wars month slot because that's I mean, Kenobi is universally loved, so it would be smart to do that. And then I think in June, that's probably when we're going to get the Bad Batch season 2, or late May. I think Kenobi and Bad Batch are probably going to run at the same time. I Can you imagine that having two Star Wars shows come out on Wednesdays? Better get to writing more, I suppose. Um, then I think probably fall, winter, we're gonna get Andor. So that's my brainstorm of a schedule. That's what I think makes the most sense. So don't quote me on that. Actually, don't quote me on any of the things I say on this podcast. So Um, but yeah, I am very excited for next week's Boba Fett episode. I believe that it's being directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, which I think she's done a good job uh, on the previous Mandalorian stuff. Did she direct more than one? Because I know she directed the episode that was based on the Seven Samurai. Did she do an episode in season two? I don't even know which one. I've lost track. I um I kind of found it odd. Going back to the Beta Fett conversation. Um, so Robert Rodriguez was the one who directed the tragedy, which of course is where Boba Fett officially made his reappearance. Um, and my lord, that man was just decimating stormtroopers and stuff. Like he had not lost a step. But then it's almost completely contrasted to now in the book of Boba Fett, where he is losing a majority of his fights. I mean, is that a shot at stormtroopers? Is that Disney telling us once again that stormtroopers are the most incompetent soldiers? Um, I think stormtroopers have always gotten the wrong reputation. Stormtroopers are supposed to be the elite fighting force of the Empire. Um, they aren't the cannon fodder. The Imperial Army exists, and that is where they get a majority of their cannon fodder. Um, the only time that Imperial Army soldiers have been seen in canon are Empire. No, no, not Empire Strikes Back. Um, Return of the Jedi. There's two of them are driving the ATSTs, and then in Solo, because of course Han Solo is an Imperial Army soldier before he deserts with Beckett. Um, you'd really think that they would, use them more, but it's not as iconic. So that's why we keep seeing stormtroopers. Um, but that's basically all I've got. Um, Star Wars news was pretty light this week. Not too much to say. Um, I'll I'll end it by saying I still think Star Wars is going in a much better direction than it has before. um, I think all these live action shows, I think these movies, if we ever do get more movies, um, I think they'll be decent. Uh, I at one point, and that one point was after The Last Jedi, kind of stopped loving Star Wars. Uh, I kind of lost my passion for it. But The Mandalorian, luckily, kick-started my love for Star Wars again, and I've been going strong ever since. It's it was enough to get me through Rise of Skywalker, so still going strong. And I love Book of Boba Fett. I kind of love how, in terms of previous Star Wars media, it's pretty small scale. Um, there are stakes, however, they are not like galaxy-wide stakes like in the movies. They're Boba Fett stakes. If Boba loses these fights, then Boba is no longer the crime lord. So um, I would like to thank the listeners for listening to my podcast. I know I only get about 20 to 40 per episode, but that's more than I thought I would get. So I'm very very thankful for everybody that leaves a comment, likes, subscribes. This is a this is a passion project of mine. Uh, so I really appreciate the support. So with that, I hope everybody who's listening right now, the live guys, have a good night. Anybody that's listening in the day, have a good day, have a good morning, have a good night. Thanks for listening.